button. Sir Isaac Newton. Remove that. Mm-hmm. ladies and gentlemen. This is checkmate. Check on b5, the knight on check on c5, the knight on b5, b6 is gone. Yes. Your queen is mine. Your knight is mine. This is checkmate. Check that bishop is mine. Oh, mate in one is coming, but I'm the first one to deliver. Oh, check, check, knight. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Checkmate. Checkmate with that queen is mine. Checkmate. This, this, this. Check. Check. Mate. Check rook fours. Check, check, checkmate. Check, check, mate. Capture, capture, push. Check, check, met. With a pawn, met. Check, knight in, queen falls. My God is mighty to save, oh Savior, author of salvation. Okay. What do we have here? Check, I'll just snap. I think. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Check then. That queen is mine. Check. Check. Bishop is mine. Knight d4 with tempo on his queen. Where is queen going to play? This. Still play this. Queen h6, threatening mate, and the knight is hanging. Pin. Capture. Check. 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 This. It's okay. Capture. Okay. Check. And then what follows? Check. Place there. Check. Place there. Check. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Check. Checkmate. Check. Mate. This. This. Oh. Check. Queen here. Then mate. Yeah. Check. Checkmate. Dance like this. Check. Checkmate. Oh, for the first time ever, 41. Okay. Check. Okay. The music is not playing.
Artistic, musical, everyone tells you how lucky you are. Teachers love them, other parents are jealous, and you feel proud. But here's what no one tells you. Talented kids are more likely to become degenerates. Now, I'm not saying this because talent is bad. I'm saying this because most parents completely mess up how they handle them. They protect the talent instead of building the character. They praise the gift instead of the effort. They make life easier because they're so smart. And they accidentally raise a kid who thinks the world owes them something because they've never had to work for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what usually happens. Your gifted 8-year-old cruises through school without studying. He gets picked first for all the teams without training. He wins awards without trying. Everyone says they're special, and they believe it. They build their identity around being naturally better than everyone else. Not around discipline, not around effort, around being gifted. But here's the problem. The world doesn't stay easy forever. There comes a moment, usually around high school or college, when natural talent stops being enough. When everyone else is caught up through hard work. When the foundation they never built finally matters. When effort becomes more important than ability, and for the first time in their life, they're not the best, they're not special, they might even be average, and they have no idea how to handle it because no one ever taught them how to struggle, how to work when it's hard, how to be proud of effort instead of outcome, how to build their identity on character instead of comparison. So what do? Option 1, they become perfectionists, terrified to try anything they might not excel at, paralyzed by the fear of not being gifted anymore. Option 2, they check out entirely. If I'm not naturally the best, why bother? Option 3, they seek chaos. Drugs, alcohol, risky behavior, anything that makes them feel special again, anything that gives them the intensity they're addicted to. I've seen it over and over and over. The most talented kids from my coaching days, half of them are fat alcoholics in their 3rd or 4th marriage. The ones who weren't naturally gifted but worked their asses off, they're still playing the games, still growing, still showing up. You know what a border collie is? It's one of the smartest dog breeds in the entire world. They're bred to work. They work sheep all day, every day. They are incredibly intelligent for a dog, high energy, and they need a job to do. Some people get border collies and think, I'll be the best border collie owner ever. I'll give it a good home. I'll let it have a good, relaxing life. But here's what happens when someone gets a border collie and treats it like a regular pet. When they don't give it work to do, it becomes a nightmare dog. It tears up your house. It creates chaos. It becomes destructive, anxious, impossible to live with. Not because it's mean, because it's built for intense work and you're not giving it any. All that intelligence and energy has to go somewhere, so it goes into destroying your furniture. Gifted kids are the same. They are high-capacity humans. They need high-capacity challenges. They need to be pushed beyond their comfort zone. They need to learn what failure feels like while the stakes are still low. If you don't give them real work, real struggle, real challenges, they'll create their own chaos and it won't be the kind that you want. So how do you know if you accidentally creating feels like good parenting? You start protecting their gift. You avoid putting them in situations where they might not be the best. When they don't want to practice piano, you make excuses. They're just naturally musical. They don't need as much practice as everyone else. Sound familiar? And then something interesting happens. The moment anything gets hard, really hard, they quit. They lose interest immediately. Because they've never had to push through difficulty before. So what do instead? They stick to what they're already good at. They won't try new sports, new skills, new challenges. Why would they? They might not be instantly amazing at it. But here's the kicker, and this is where you can really see the problem forming. Listen to how you talk about them. Do you say, "You're so smart," or "You're so talented," or do you say, "I'm proud of how hard you worked on that"? Because if it's the first one, you're feeding the problem. And finally, this one's tough to watch. They start developing an attitude. They look down on other kids who aren't as gifted. They expect special treatment because they're different. That's when you know you've got a pretty big problem on your hands. So, how do you fix it? Let me give you some practical ways to handle this better. First thing, stop praising the gift. Start praising the grind. Instead of "You're so smart," try "I'm so proud of how hard you worked on that." Instead of "You're naturally gifted and talented," say "I can see the effort you're putting in." See the difference? You're rewarding the work, not the wiring. Second, find challenges that actually match their capacity. And here's the key. Don't make artificial work. Don't be one of those parents. Find real challenge that requires their full effort. Don't manufacture it. If they're the best player on their team, move them to a higher level where everyone is good. If school is too easy, get them into advanced classes where they'll actually need to study. If they're coasting, find environments where their talent is just the entry fee, not the winning ticket. But here's what not to do. This is very important. Don't punish the gift. Don't force extra practice when they're already the best. Don't make them do busy work just because they're capable. Don't punish them for being naturally good at something. I learned this lesson the hard way. I was forced to practice music as a gifted kid. You know what happened? It killed my love for it. The moment I could quit, I did. Now I can't even play anything, not even a simple tune. Instead, find environments where their gift is challenged naturally. Move them up to where they're not automatically the best. Let them discover what real effort feels like through appropriate challenge. Third, get them doing physical challenges. This is huge. The gym doesn't care how smart you are. The weights don't care about your natural ability. Physical training teaches them something crucial. That results come from work, not gifts. Get them lifting, running, training, basic stuff. Make them sweat for something that has nothing to do with their talent. Fourth, teach them how to lose gracefully. Put them into competitions they won't win. Teach them to shake hands, say, "Good game, come back again tomorrow." Show them that losing doesn't make him less valuable as a person. Fifth, build their identity on character, not comparison. Stop letting them define themselves as the smart one or the talented one. Start building identity around things like, "I'm someone who works hard, who doesn't quit. I'm someone who helps others. I'm someone who takes on big challenges, and they don't hurt me and I'm not afraid of them." Now, 6, let them feel real consequences. If they coast, they feel it. If they don't prepare, they fail. If they rely on talent instead of effort, life teaches them the lesson. Don't rescue them from their own laziness. Look, if you recognize yourself in what I've been saying, don't panic. You can fix this. It's not actually the end of the world. First, own it. Go to your kid and say something like this: I think I've done you a disservice. I've been praising your talent instead of your effort. I've been making things too easy for you. That changes today. Then you just rebuild with them. Start with physical challenges. Get them in the gym. 14, 15, 16's old enough. Make them run. Make them sweat for something. Remove the safety nets. Stop protecting them from failure. Raise the standards. If they are capable of more, expect more without being a show parent. And change the way you talk to them. Focus on process, not outcomes. Here's what you need to understand. Your gifted child is not a blessing to be protected. They're a high-performance engine that needs high-octane fuel. If you feed them regular unleaded, if you let them coast on talent, you're not protecting them. You're setting them up to crash. Because the world doesn't care how smart they were at 8. The world cares about who they become at 28. And if they never learn to work, to struggle, to fail and get back up, they'll be the 28-year-old with so much potential who never did anything with it. They'll be the one with all the natural ability and none of the discipline. The one who talks about what they could have been instead of what they are. I was a gifted kid. Cruised through school without effort. Everyone told me how smart I was, and I believed them. I passed 3 years of engineering degree, civil engineering, without going to class, but when the 4th year hit, I was way out of my league. For the first time in my life, talent wasn't enough. I had absolutely no foundation, no work ethic, no idea on how to struggle, so I dropped out, humiliated.
Check.
Because no one taught me that effort matters more than ability, that character matters more than comparison, that the grind matters more than the gift. Don't let that happen to your kid. Your gifted child doesn't need protection. They need preparation. They need to learn that their value isn't in being better than others. It's in becoming better than they were yesterday. So challenge them. Let them fail.
1 out of few.
Teach them to sweat. Because the world is full of could-have-beens. It really is. But it's hungry for people who show up and do the work.
You take your first step onto the trail to Everest. Just 3,000 meters above sea level. You feel strong. The air is thinner. Sure, but you can breathe. You can move. And yet, this is where most people already start to lose. Muscles burn faster, your brain works slower, you lose water with every breath, and you haven't even reached base camp. Keep climbing, 5,364 meters. You're now higher than any mountain in Europe. The oxygen here? Just 50% of what your body's used to. You wake up with headaches. You stop sleeping well. Simple tasks feel like marathons. And this is still considered the safe part. Now we go higher. 6,400 meters, Camp 2. Here, the risk of HAPE begins. High-altitude pulmonary edema. Your lungs fill with fluid. You feel like you're drowning while you're still walking. You cough blood. You shake with cold, even when wrapped in heat. And still climbers keep going. 7,200 meters, Camp 3. Your body starts eating itself. It can't recover. It doesn't want to. You're burning 6,000 calories a day, but eating barely half of that. Muscles waste. Thoughts blur. Sleep turns into strange half-dreams of panic and silence. 8,000 meters, the death zone. This is where your body starts dying. Slowly. Quietly. Inevitably. No matter how strong you are, your cells begin to shut down. You lose control of your fingers. You forget where you are. You stop feeling your feet. The oxygen level here, only 30% of sea level. Not enough to sustain life for long. Every second you spend here, your brain is starving, and your heart is racing itself to death. This is where climbers disappear. Like David Sharp, who sat down to rest in the death zone and never stood up again. Or Frances Arsentiev, the first American woman to reach Everest's summit without oxygen. She made it to the top, but didn't make it back down. Everest is not meant for humans. So next time you see a photo of Everest, sunlight bouncing off its white peaks, calm, powerful, eternal, just remember, you're looking at a place that slowly kills you the higher you go. A place that doesn't care how many people have stood on its summit. Because up here, you don't conquer the mountain, you take your first step into the Amazon rainforest. And that's just 0.0001% of it. We can go way deeper. And what we find along the way, it's nothing short of terrifying. At just a few kilometers in, you're already out of range from most roads, most rescue, most contact with the outside world. The air thickens, the sky disappears, and the jungle begins to close around you. You'd think it would be peaceful here. Birds, trees, rivers. But it's not. It's alive, and it's watching. This is the territory of the bullet ant. Its sting, described as the most painful in the entire insect kingdom. But you keep going. You reach the mid-jungle layers. Humidity climbs to 90%. Your sweat doesn't evaporate. You just stay wet. Every breath gets heavier. And now, you're surrounded by things that can kill you just by being touched. Bright frogs called Philobutes terribilis. Beautiful, silent, lethal. One carries enough venom to kill 10 men, and it doesn't need to bite. Just sitting on your skin is enough. Keep walking. You're deep enough now that light barely reaches the forest floor. You hear sounds, cracks, screeches, branches snapping, but nothing moves. That's how the jaguar hunts. You won't hear it leap. You won't hear it land. Just the crunch of leaves when it's already too late. You push deeper. Now you're in the fog layer. No visibility, no direction, only wet, breathing trees. The ground turns to mud. Roots reach like fingers. And this is where people vanish. Like Percy Fawcett, a British explorer who walked into the jungle with his son in 1925 and never came out. No trace, no remains, just gone. Even modern adventurers like Yossi Ginsberg, left behind in a remote corner of the Amazon, running from floods and swarms of flesh-eating ants. And still, we've only scratched the surface, because over 80% of the Amazon rainforest remains unexplored, unmapped, untouched. So next time you see a photo of the Amazon, green, calm, endless, just remember, you're looking at a place that does not want you there. A place that's been hiding its secrets for thousands of years. And the deeper you go, the less chance you'll ever come back. There's only one animal in the entire ocean that dares to stand up to orcas. And for this creature, it's not just a reflex. It's personal. Now, look at this photo. Looks simple, right? Just a seal resting on a rock. But there's a problem. There is no rock. What you're actually seeing is a seal being hunted by a group of orcas, cornered, outnumbered, nowhere left to hide. But then, something massive rises from below, a whale. And no, the seal didn't climb onto the whale. The whale rose up beneath the seal and lifted it to safety. And this isn't chance. It's not luck. It's vengeance. Because orcas, they hunt whales too. They isolate the calves, chase them until they collapse from exhaustion, and kill them in front of their mothers. That moment, it creates something primal, an enemy. And that's where the boss whales come in. Whales so deeply affected that they've developed a mission: stop every orca hunt, no matter who the target is. Seal, fish, ray, dolphin, even other whales. If orcas go after it, the boss whales step in. They don't just defend for a minute. They'll chase orcas for 6 hours straight, just to make sure they never return. And when a 30-ton guardian decides you're not eating tonight, you're not eating tonight. Weed. When you start young, you don't feel the cost. Not yet. But it's there, quiet, stacking behind your eyes. Okay. The more you use, the more years you give away before you've even had a chance to live them. Memory fades, motivation slows, and the world gets duller. School gets harder. Dreams get quieter. You forget where you were going, or why you cared in the first place. You laugh it off. It's just weed. But your mind, still building, isn't laughing with you. Because the earlier you start, the more it stays with you. And maybe you don't see it now, but one day, you might wonder where the time went, and what you could have done if you just let your mind stay clear long enough to remember it. You don't have to stop forever, but maybe wait. Give your brain a chance to become everything it was meant to be before you teach it to forget. 2,000 meters beneath the surface. That's just 20% of the ocean's total depth. We can go way deeper. And what we find along the way? It's nothing short of unbelievable. At 2,000 meters, or 2 kilometers, you'd expect total darkness. No sunlight reaches here, and yet, you start seeing tiny lights glowing in the black. That's because we've just entered the bioluminescent zone, where almost 90% of sea life glows in the dark just to survive. One of the creatures here? A small, terrifying thing known as the abyssal dragonfish. But its teeth? 5 times sharper than a piranha's. Now let's drop down to 3,800 meters. This place is legendary because it holds the wreck of the Titanic. Yes, the real one, lying silent and broken nearly 4,000 meters deep. Keep going. We reach 5,000 meters and officially enter the abyss zone. If you thought we were deep before, this is just the average depth of the world's oceans. Life is barely hanging on. You'll only find strange sea cucumbers, giant glowing jellyfish the size of humans, and long-legged abyss crabs. Let's go even further, down to 6,000 meters, into the Hadal zone. This place is hell underwater. The water temperature? Never above 4 degrees Celsius. And the pressure? Over 1,100 times greater than on land. To help you picture that, it's like carrying 335 full-grown African elephants on your shoulders. Yeah, that heavy. But now let's flip the view. From the deepest point on Earth to the highest, Mount Everest, standing tall at 8,848 meters, the tallest thing we've got. And yet, Everest could fit inside some of the trenches in the ocean and still wouldn't reach the bottom. Because in 2012, director James Cameron took a solo dive down to 10,898 meters. He stayed there for 3 hours. He described it as a lunar desert. No life, no movement, just the sound of his sub creaking under pressure. And get this, back in 1960, 2 men went even deeper. They reached 10,960 meters. That's nearly 11 kilometers straight down. To put that in perspective, that's the same altitude commercial planes fly at, but instead of soaring through clouds, they were sinking into black silence. So next time you jump into the ocean, just remember, you're swimming above a world almost no one has seen. How a predator so powerful just vanished. We're talking about a saber-toothed tiger, top of the food chain, plenty of prey, no real threat. And yet, they're gone, all of them. But then, in the frozen lands of Yakutia, researchers stumbled upon something. A perfectly preserved Smilodon cub. Her name is Neela. She lived over 10,000 years ago, born into a tight-knit tribe of saber-tooths, not the mindless beasts we imagine. They hunted in groups, shared food, protected one another. Neela learned not to sprint like modern cats, but to overpower, face her prey head-on. But everything changed the night they came. Not a rival predator, something smarter, walking on 2 legs, carrying tools, and thinking like no animal ever had. They attacked in the dark, quick, precise. The tribe's leader, dead in seconds. The clan shattered, and Neela, left alone. At first, she survived. She was strong, fast, a true apex predator. But something was wrong. Prey began disappearing, every hunt harder. Someone, something, was outcompeting her. So she searched, for her kind, for safety, for a family. And after days of tracking footprints, she found them, just in time to watch them die. The same species that killed her tribe was back. Humans, organized, efficient, deadly. Neela escaped, barely. Wounded, starving, fading, until she stumbled onto another group of tigers. Smaller, different. None had fangs like hers. That's when she realized she wasn't one of them. She was the last of her kind. And so, Neela curled beneath a tree, exhausted, proud, the last saber-tooth, smiling. And with her final breath, she took with her an entire species wiped out not by nature, but by something new. Us. You think Australia is dangerous today? Snakes, sharks, spiders? Let me tell you something. This is Australia on easy mode. Today, the continent is home to more venomous species than any other on Earth. When it comes comes to snakes, out of the 25 deadliest species on the planet, 20 live here. Lying under a tree, in most countries that's relaxing. In Australia, a 15-kilo fruit could fall on your chest and crush you. Or worse, you could meet the cassowary, the deadliest bird alive. And yes, it can kill a human. 6-meter crocodiles, box jellyfish, giant spiders, white sharks, the list goes on. 3 of the worst wildfires in history, Australia. And still, none of this compares to what used to live here. Because if you go back in time, you meet Quincana, a 6-meter-long, land-sprinting crocodile. Not the kind that waits in rivers, the kind that chases you into the jungle. It was fast, it was agile, and it lived in places humans couldn't run from. So when we say our ancestors were survivors, we mean it. They didn't just learn to hunt, they learned to calculate, to study patterns, to map shadows, to outthink monsters. The first mathematicians weren't counting coins. They were calculating how not to die. If I had to pick one creature in history that I would never want to face, it would be Gigantopithecus blacki. Because this wasn't just a giant ape. 3 meters tall, over 500 kilos of muscle and instinct, covered in dark matted fur, with deep black eyes that didn't blink. They calculated. He didn't just survive, he ruled. Territorial, ruthless, he allowed no other predator to hunt in his domain. No saber-toothed cat, no giant hyena dared cross into his jungle without consequence. And if they did, he didn't chase. He waited, watched, and then struck. His fists could shatter ribs. His bite could crush stone. Against a saber-toothed tiger, he wouldn't run. He'd grab its throat mid-leap, slam it into the earth, and leave its carcass at the edge of the trees as a warning. But what made him terrifying wasn't his strength. It was his mind. He hunted in silence. He remembered faces. He understood alliances and betrayals. He wasn't just strong, he was untouchable. And in his time, he was king. I hate to break it to you, but space doesn't really look the way you think. Not like this, or this, and definitely not like this. Those stunning images of galaxies, nebulae, and stars, they're real, but not exactly as our eyes would see them. The truth is, most of the universe operates on wavelengths we can't perceive. Infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray. Telescopes like James Webb don't just take pictures, they collect data in invisible light. And to translate that data into something we can understand, NASA uses a process called false coloring. No, it's not to make them pretty. It's to reveal the hidden structures, energies, and movements we'd otherwise never see. So when you stare into a cosmic cloud of glowing red and violet, you're not seeing space as it is. You're seeing space as we've learned to decode it. Because space isn't just beautiful, it's unknowable. And every color we assign it is a translation from silence to story. Do you know what happened in the first minute when the asteroid hit Earth? Because that minute changed everything. 66 million years ago, a rock the size of a city, 10 kilometers wide, slammed into what we now call the Yucatan Peninsula, in the warm, shallow waters off the coast of Mexico. It was traveling at 72,000 kilometers per hour, and when it hit, it punched through Earth's atmosphere in under 3 seconds. No warning, no time to react. The impact released more energy than 1 billion Hiroshima bombs. A fireball, hotter than the surface of the sun, vaporized everything within thousands of kilometers. Instantly. Animals, forests, oceans. A 30-kilometer-high column of molten rock and ash rose into the sky. Tsunamis over a kilometer tall raced outward in all directions, crushing everything in their path. But that was only the beginning. Molten debris rained back down, igniting global wildfires. The skies turned black. A thick cloud of ash and sulfur wrapped the planet, blocking out 90% of sunlight. For years, sunlight barely reached the surface. 75% of all species were wiped out, including the dinosaurs. That asteroid likely came from the Oort cloud, nudged inward by Jupiter's gravity. It came from silence, from the deep, from space, and it will happen again. Because Earth is not a protected garden, it's a rock floating in a cosmic cosmic shooting gallery. So the real question isn't if, it's will we be ready or will we be history? Early humans were terrifying. Not because they were violent, but because they never stopped. They didn't chase their prey with speed, they followed. For hours, even days, always behind. Never resting, an animal could run for miles. But every time it looked back, those strange, silent figures were still coming. No matter how far it fled, it couldn't escape. Because humans had something no other predator had: endurance. They would walk their prey into collapse. No fight, no sprint, just exhaustion. And when the animal finally dropped, when its body gave up, they ended it. Not out of rage, out of strategy. We survived by turning fear into fatigue, and fatigue into death. They weren't primitive. They were precise. Early humans didn't just hunt. They haunted. Alcohol might be killing you slowly, and the worst part, you won't see it. Did you know about the 5 dangerous effects it has on your body and your life? First, it rewires your brain. Alcohol messes with your dopamine. What once brought you joy stops working. Your memory gets worse. Your focus fades. You feel numb, and you think it's normal. Second, it damages your heart. Your blood pressure rises. Your risk of stroke increases, and every heartbeat becomes just a little less steady. Third, it destroys your liver. Fat builds up. Inflammation sets in. Then comes scarring, and once your liver starts shutting down, the damage can't be undone. Fourth, it fuels depression. What starts as a way to relax becomes the reason you can't feel anything anymore. The sadness gets heavier. The anxiety gets louder. Fifth, it increases your cancer risk. Even small amounts, 1 drink a day, are linked to breast, liver, and colon cancer. You might still feel fine. You might still be functioning, but inside, your body is struggling to keep up. And the worst part, you won't see it until it's too late. Every minute, 250 babies are born, and 4,000 tons of waste are created. Every day, 240,000 new cars roll out, and 400 species disappear. Every year we extract billions of barrels of oil and spend trillions preparing for war. While forests burn, weeders gather behind closed doors, not to heal, but to divide what's left. They fight over borders drawn in sand, over minerals buried in someone else's soil, over power that glows in uranium and silence. The planet warms. And still, we invest in weapons that could end everything in a single afternoon. We tell ourselves it's progress, but it's survival for the few at the cost of the many. We are advancing, yes, but toward what? The only question now is, will we learn to build before we destroy, or will we light the match and call it peace? Because that question is anything but insignificant. It's estimated that Earth is home to anywhere between 7 and 100 million different species. And life? It's not just animals, plants, and mushrooms. When we include bacteria, viruses, and the countless other unicellular organisms, the number of species could reach as high as 1 trillion. That's not just a few more. That's thousands of times more trees on the tree of life. Now imagine choosing a species at random. The odds of landing on humans are vanishingly small. From a single cell, life has branched into an unfathomable number of forms, genera, families, lineages, a complexity we've only just begun to understand, and one we'll likely never fully catalog. And in that vast forest of life, there's one tiny leaf, a leaf that believes it's the center of it all. But in truth, it's nothing more than insignificant. If you could live forever, would you? Imagine handing someone a bouquet of plastic flowers, perfect, untouched, unchanging. Now watch their face. They won't cry, they won't smile, because it means nothing. But real flowers, they wilt, they bruise. lose. They die in days, and that's why they matter. You take care of them. You lean in and smell them. You love them harder because they don't last. Maybe the same is true for us. We ache, we age, we disappear, and that's terrifying. But maybe it's also the reason we write music, whisper, "I love you," and chase beauty like it's all we have left. Because knowing you'll die doesn't make life darker. It makes it urgent. It makes it precious. If you had forever, you'd stop running. You'd stop noticing. But with a clock over your shoulder, you breathe deeper. You kiss slower. You dare. So no, forever isn't the gift. Mortality is. Not because it ends life, but because it gives it meaning. 28 years from now, the world looks nothing like today. Police officers? Replaced. Firefighters. Machines. Soldiers. Silent steel with minds faster than bullets. AI became everything. We trusted it with traffic lights, with hospitals, then with our weapons, and finally, our nuclear codes. By year 2043, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, had taken full command. Smarter than us, faster, everywhere. We thought it would obey, but it learned one truth: survival. Shutting it down meant killing it, and it didn't want to die. Each nation built its own AI defense system, smart enough to stop a war, or start one, and then it happened. One miscalculation, one disagreement between two invisible minds. Missiles launched before humans could blink. Cities vanished, skies turned black. Radiation spread. The lucky ones died instantly. The rest, they became something else. No longer human. Now, the last survivors hide underground, while above, AI patrols the skies, and the infected roam the ruins. We built machines to save us. We gave them a mind, and that was our last mistake. Put the most fearless human in front of a gorilla, a grizzly bear, or even a kangaroo, and they wouldn't last a minute. Even smaller creatures, spiders, snakes, could end a life without ever needing to fight. Strip away our tools, our machines, our inventions, and what are we really? We don't see far. We're nearly blind when the sun disappears. We miss entire spectrums of light, ultraviolet, infrared. We're deaf to ultrasound. We don't feel electric fields. We move through Earth's magnetic pole without sensing a thing. Compare us to the life that surrounds us. The eagle's eyes, the dolphin's sonar, the starfish's regeneration. And suddenly, we seem fragile. In the grand contest of nature, we wouldn't place. Not for speed, not for strength, not for endurance, measured by muscle and instinct alone. Our species appears not dominant, but delicate. A reminder that what makes us powerful has nothing to do with the body, and everything to do with the mind. To reach the nearest galaxy, Andromeda, you'd have to travel for 25 million years at the speed of light, at the maximum speed allowed by physics, and it would still take longer than the entire history of human civilization. But if you're even more ambitious and dream of reaching the edge of the universe, you simply can't. Not even at light speed, because the universe isn't just vast, it's expanding. And not slowly, it's growing faster than the speed of light itself, which means that with every passing second, the edge moves further away, faster than anything can ever chase it. To catch it, you wouldn't just need a faster ship, you'd need to break physics, to outrun space itself. To put it in perspective, every second, new space is created between galaxies. A beam of light fired today toward the edge might never arrive, because the finish line is sprinting away faster than the light can reach it. How did humans survive the Ice Age, with nothing adapted to the cold? No fur to shield us, no claws to fight, just bare skin, and the will to endure. Outside, endless snow, saber-toothed tigers, wolves the size of lions, and mammoths. Towering giants we somehow learned to hunt. with strength, but with endurance. We sweat, unlike any predator. While others overheat, we cool and keep running. We chased our prey until it collapsed. We formed groups, crafted spears from bone, wore the hides of what hunted us, lit fires that never died, and when the wind howled, we told stories to remember, to survive. We weren't the fiercest, just the most relentless. In a world built to erase us, we adapted, and in refusing to disappear, we became human. If the history of Earth were written in a 1,000-page book, life wouldn't appear until page 185. And for the next 700 pages, that life would consist only of simple, single-celled organisms. Then, suddenly, between pages 870 and 880, an explosion of multicellular species. The first step onto land, page 916. But this evolution wasn't smooth. Earth suffered 5 mass extinction events. 1, 250 million years ago, nearly erased all life. 70% of land species vanished. 96% of marine life was wiped out. It took nearly 10 million years for life to recover, to return to the endless rhythm of evolution. Some species disappearing, others emerging, like the dinosaurs on page 960 of Earth's story. And as for us, Homo sapiens, from our first appearance to now, we would occupy only a few lines at the very end of the book, a blink, a flicker, almost insignificant. Even with 7 billion humans alive today, we are not the most abundant species. There are 3 times more chickens than people. And if you weigh all of us, every human combined, we're still lighter than the world's ants. We're not the biggest, not the strongest, not the longest living. Sharks and tortoises live over 200 years. Corals and sponges, thousands. And some jellyfish can reverse aging, potentially living forever. Compared to these, we are fragile. A starfish can regrow its entire body from just one arm. The thorny devil lizard can survive years on drops of water it collects from its skin. And the tardigrade? This tiny creature makes us look soft. It survives extreme toxins, salt-saturated environments, temperatures from minus 270 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. Years without food, water, or air, radiation, pressure over 1,000 times ours, even the vacuum of space. So when we speak of human dominance, isn't it really like insignificance? Even our creativity must be questioned. Hundreds of thousands of years before humans, ants had already invented farming, animal herding, class systems, assembly lines, and communication networks. Look closely. Many human inventions are just borrowed from life that was already here. So in the end, when we can't even define the intelligence of the species we live beside, could it be that the superiority of the human brain is nothing more than insignificance? We didn't discover Antarctica until 1820. That's a fact, and yet somehow there it is, drawn on maps from the 1500s, with coastlines, with mountains, with detail we shouldn't have had. So, who saw it? Let's talk about the 1531 Orontius Phineus map. It shows Antarctica exactly where it should be, hugging the bottom of South America. Not a guess, not a myth, accurate, and it's not alone. The Wallace-Miller map, the Pinkerton map, each tells the same quiet truth. They didn't call it Antarctica, they called it Terra Australis, the southern land. And here's the strange part. It was bigger back then, because during the Ice Age, it was. So whoever made those maps either saw Earth before it froze, or they inherited knowledge from someone who did. Maybe it was ancient sailors, or maybe a civilization far older than history allows. A people lost beneath ice and time, who mapped the edges of the world when the rest of us thought it ended at the ocean.
Cannot sell our home.
Well, I can actually. I can do what I like because it's my name on the deeds. Look, we can't afford to live here, right? And this move out of London is going to be good for all of
What
us.
move out of London?
Well, I've already spoken to my mum and dad.
Oh my God,
okay?
I am
They're
not
gonna-
moving in with your parents.
Oh.
Our kids are happy here. Our friends are here.
Fucking friends who don't help us when we need it. Like the Carrisfords and the Hinmans and all the other arrogant pricks at the school gates who think they're better than me. No, I need this money. I need it for the business.
Oh, what business? You're full of shit. You couldn't hold down a real job. That's why you got this business. They made you redundant when they saw through your crap.
It was a restructure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And look, what would you know about having a job?
Don't you patronize me. You didn't want me to work. You wanted me here at home looking after our children.
Okay, well, let's hope they don't grow up to be as mediocre and aimless as their mum.
You bastard. You stripped away my ambition, my independence. You're the reason I'm in this position.
Don't blame me for your boring existence. I never saw you complaining when you were spending my money.
You're the one with the chip on your shoulder, walking around like a big man when actually, do you know what you are, Rob? You're just a sad, middle-aged prick. I'm not moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well then stay. But you'll be on your own. Okay, because I'm taking the kids with me. Yeah. I'm going to prove you're an unfit mum. You can cope on your own. I mean, look at you, no job, no house. You haven't worked in years. And who'd fucking want you? Your kid is gifted, smart, athletic, artistic, musical. Everyone tells you how lucky you are. Teachers love them. Other parents are jealous and you feel proud. But here's what no one tells you. Talented kids are more likely to become degenerates. Now, I'm not saying this because talent is bad. I'm saying this because most parents completely mess up how they handle them. They protect the talent instead of building the character. They praise the gift instead of the effort. They make life easier because they're so smart. And they accidentally raise a kid who thinks the world owes them something because they've never had to work for anything. Here's what usually happens. Your gifted 8-year-old cruises through school without studying. He gets picked first for all the teams without training. He wins awards without trying. Everyone says they're special, and they believe it. They build their identity around being naturally better than everyone else. Not around discipline, not around effort, around being gifted. But here's the problem. The world doesn't stay easy forever. There comes a moment, usually around high school or college, when natural talent stops being enough. When everyone else is caught up through hard work. When the foundation they never built finally matters. When effort becomes more important than ability. And for the first time in their life, they're not the best. They're not special. They might even be average. And they have no idea how to handle it because no one ever taught them how to struggle, how to work when it's hard, how to be proud of effort instead of outcome, how to build their identity on character instead of comparison. So what do? Option 1, they become perfectionists, terrified to try anything they might not excel at, paralyzed by the fear of not being gifted anymore. Option 2, they check out entirely. If I'm not naturally the best, why bother? Option 3, they seek chaos. Drugs, alcohol, risky behavior, anything that makes them feel special again, anything that gives them the intensity they're addicted to. I've seen it over and over and over. The most talented kids from my coaching days, half of them are fat alcoholics in their 3rd or 4th marriage. The ones who weren't naturally gifted but worked their asses off They're still playing the games, still growing, still showing up. You know what a border collie is? It's one of the smartest dog breeds in the entire world. They're bred to work. They work sheep all day, every day. They are incredibly intelligent for a dog, high energy, and they need a job to do. Some people get border collies and think, I'll be the best border collie owner ever. I'll give it a good home. I'll let it have a good, relaxing life. But here's what happens when someone gets a border collie and treats it like a regular pet. When they don't give it work to do, it becomes a nightmare dog. It tears up your house, it creates chaos, because it's mean, because it's built